Moments in life when the ordinary begins to feel extraordinary. A shift takes place, and though you may not fully understand it, you know something is different. It's as if the atmosphere around you changes and people start to respond to you in ways you can't explain. Deep within, you sense a power beyond yourself working through you, guiding your steps and speaking through your words. These moments are not coincidences, they are signs of something far greater. If you've ever felt an unexplainable peace, experienced miraculous breakthroughs, or seen lives transformed in your presence, you might be walking in a realm most people never enter. What does it mean to carry the presence of God? Let's explore this together. When the presence of God is truly with you, everything about your life begins to reflect His glory. You carry an authority that cannot be explained by your background, education, or status. This isn't about pride or self-importance, but about the manifestation of His power in and through your life. God's presence transforms everything it touches. It brings order to chaos, light to darkness, and hope to despair. The evidence of this divine presence often reveals itself subtly at first. You may notice that people are drawn to you without knowing why. They seek your advice, confide in you, or simply want to be around you. This is because the Spirit of God within you becomes a light in their darkness, a beacon pointing them towards something greater. It's not about who you are, it's about who He is in you. Sometimes the signs are more profound. Prayers you've whispered in private begin to yield visible results. Doors that seemed locked tight suddenly swing open, not because of your efforts, but because of God's hand. These are the moments when you realize that carrying His presence is not just a blessing, but a responsibility. He doesn't pour His Spirit into vessels to remain idle, He pours it to bring His kingdom to earth. But carrying God's presence isn't always comfortable. The world doesn't always celebrate those who walk in His light. There will be moments of opposition where people misunderstand or even reject you because of the truth you carry. Yet, even in these challenges, the presence of God sustains you. His peace surpasses understanding, and His joy remains your strength. As you walk in this divine presence, you'll find your priorities shifting. Things that once seemed important begin to lose their hold on you. Your heart begins to align with His, and you start to care deeply about the things that matter to God. You'll feel compelled to serve others, to forgive even when it's difficult, and to love without condition. There is also a sensitivity that comes with carrying God's presence. You begin to discern things in the spiritual realm that others may not see. You might feel a burden to pray for someone or sense danger in situations others dismiss. This heightened awareness isn't a gift to be taken lightly, it's part of the calling to walk closely with Him. Even your struggles and trials take on new meaning. When you carry God's presence, adversity becomes a tool for refinement rather than destruction. God uses every challenge to shape you, to mold you into the image of Christ, and to prepare you for greater works. You begin to see hardships not as punishments, but as opportunities for His glory to be revealed. There is a stillness in your soul that can only come from Him. Even in the busiest moments of life, there is an underlying peace that anchors you. This peace isn't something you can manufacture, it's a gift that comes from His presence dwelling within you. And then there's the boldness. When you carry the presence of God, fear begins to lose its grip on you. You step into situations with a confidence that comes not from your abilities, but from your trust in Him. You speak words of life, even when it's risky, because you know the one who sent you is faithful. This journey of carrying God's presence is not about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes or always having the right answers. It's about surrender, letting Him take control, and trusting Him to work through your imperfections. God doesn't choose the qualified, He qualifies the chosen. As you walk in this truth, you'll find that carrying His presence isn't just for your benefit. It's for those around you. Your life becomes a testimony of His love, power, and grace. People will see Him through you, not because you're trying to be noticed, but because His light naturally shines through you. This is the essence of carrying God's presence. It's not something you can manufacture or earn, it's a gift. It's His Spirit dwelling within you, leading you, empowering you, and transforming you. And as you yield to Him, you'll discover that this presence is the greatest treasure you could ever carry. Let's go deeper into this journey, for there is so much more to uncover. When you carry God's presence, even the unseen begins to respond to you. The spiritual realm recognizes the authority of the one who resides within you, and this reality begins to shape the world around you. Your prayers are no longer simple petitions, they become declarations backed by the authority of heaven. This doesn't mean that every prayer is answered instantly or in the way you expect, but it does mean that your connection with God aligns your heart with His will, and His will is always accomplished in His time. You may find yourself in situations where you don't know what to say or do, but in those moments, God's presence within you will guide you. Words will come to your lips that you hadn't planned, wisdom will emerge that you didn't know you possessed, and solutions will appear where there seemed to be none. These are not your doing, they are the manifestations of His Spirit working through you. The presence of God carries a weight, a holy gravity that others can feel even if they don't fully understand it. This weight is not burdensome, it is transformative. It compels people to listen, to reflect, and sometimes to change. You might find that people feel convicted around you, not because you are pointing out their flaws, but because the light of God within you exposes the darkness in their own hearts. This conviction isn't about judgment, it's about love. It's the Spirit gently drawing them toward repentance and restoration. Carrying God's presence also means that your battles are no longer fought alone. The struggles you face are met with divine reinforcement. Angels are dispatched, and the power of God moves on your behalf in ways you cannot see, but will surely experience. The assurance of His presence gives you courage to face giants, to walk through valleys, and to stand firm in storms. You begin to realize that victory is not achieved by your strength, but by His. This divine presence changes the way you view success and failure. When God is with you, success is no longer measured by earthly standards. It is not about wealth, fame, or achievements, but about obedience to His will and faithfulness in what He has entrusted to you. Even in moments that look like failure to the world, you will find peace knowing that God is working all things together for your good and His glory. Your relationships begin to shift as well. The presence of God in your life will attract those who are hungry for Him and at times repel those who are resistant to His truth. This can be painful, especially when it involves people you care about, but it is also necessary. God's presence sanctifies, and not everyone will be willing to embrace the changes it brings. Yet, in these moments, you must trust that He is leading you and that He knows what is best for you and for those around you. There is a humility that comes with carrying His presence. You recognize that the power at work in your life is not your own, and this keeps you grounded. Pride has no place in the presence of God. Instead, you are constantly reminded of your dependence on Him. This humility becomes a testimony in itself, showing others that true greatness comes from serving, not from striving. God's presence also brings clarity. The noise of the world begins to fade as His voice becomes clearer. You find yourself drawn to His word, not out of obligation, but out of desire. Scripture comes alive in ways it never has before, speaking directly to your heart and guiding your steps. This intimacy with His word is one of the clearest signs that His presence is with you, for He always aligns Himself with His truth. As you walk in His presence, you will notice an increase in favor. This favor doesn't always look like material blessings, though those may come, but it often appears in unexpected opportunities, divine connections, and supernatural provision. People may go out of their way to help you without knowing why, and doors that seemed closed will open effortlessly. This favor is not for your glory, but for His purposes, and it requires stewardship. The presence of God brings freedom. Chains that once bound you, fear, doubt, sin, and shame begin to fall away. His Spirit breaks every yoke and sets you free to walk in the fullness of who He created you to be. This freedom isn't about doing whatever you want, it's about living in alignment with His will, unburdened by the weights that once held you back. Even your physical environment begins to reflect His presence. There is a peace that settles over your home, your workplace, and wherever you go. This peace is tangible and others can feel it. They may not be able to explain it, but they will notice the difference. This is because the presence of God is not confined to you. It radiates outward, touching everything and everyone around you. There will also be moments of divine revelation. God will begin to show you things that others cannot see, giving you insight into His plans and purposes. This revelation is not for boasting, but for intercession and action. He entrusts you with these insights because He knows you will steward them wisely and use them to bring His kingdom to earth. Carrying His presence means walking in love. This love is not human, it is divine. It enables you to forgive the unforgivable, to love the unlovable, and to serve those who cannot repay you. This love becomes a testimony of God's character, drawing others to Him through you. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. You will also experience a deeper sense of purpose. The presence of God brings clarity to your calling, showing you why you were created and what He has prepared for you to do. This purpose gives your life meaning and direction, anchoring you in His plans even when the path ahead is unclear. Through it all, you will find that carrying His presence is not about what you do, but about who you are becoming. It is a journey of transformation, where His Spirit works in you to make you more like Christ. This process is ongoing, and it requires surrender, trust, and faithfulness. The presence of God is the greatest gift you can carry. It is His power, His peace, His love, and His glory dwelling within you, changing you from the inside out and impacting the world around you. This journey is not easy, but it is worth every step, for there is no greater joy than walking with Him and being used by Him for His purposes. Let this truth sink into your heart as we continue to explore the depths of what it means to carry His presence. Carrying God's presence transforms not only your inner world, but also the world around you in ways that are both profound and subtle. His presence becomes a shield, guarding you from unseen dangers, and a light illuminating the path you are meant to walk. This is not a path free from obstacles, but it is one where every challenge serves a divine purpose. When you face trials, they no longer feel like meaningless struggles. They become opportunities for God's power to manifest in your life. His presence equips you with resilience, not through your own strength, but by His Spirit working within you. As you walk with Him, you may notice that certain things you once valued no longer hold the same importance. The desires of your heart begin to align with His will, and you find yourself longing for what pleases Him rather than what satisfies the flesh. This shift is not something you can force. It is a natural byproduct of dwelling in His presence. The more time you spend with Him, the more you are changed into His likeness, and the less appealing the distractions of the world become. God's presence also heightens your sensitivity to His voice. What once felt like faint whispers now becomes clear, guiding you in both the big decisions and the small, everyday choices. This discernment is a treasure, for it keeps you in alignment with His plans and protects you from pitfalls. You may find that you no longer need to second-guess yourself as often because His Spirit confirms the right path within you. This inner guidance is not just for your benefit. It positions you to be a blessing to others, allowing you to speak timely words and take actions that align with His purposes. There is also an unshakable peace that comes with carrying His presence. This peace is not dependent on circumstances. It exists even in the midst of chaos. When storms arise, you find yourself anchored, not because the situation is easy, but because you are held by the One who controls the storm. This peace becomes a testimony to others who may wonder how you remain calm when everything seems to be falling apart. It is a peace that surpasses understanding, pointing directly to the presence of God in your life. His presence empowers you to love in ways that are humanly impossible. You find yourself forgiving offenses that once would have consumed you and showing compassion to those who may not deserve it. This love is not weak. It is a powerful force that breaks down barriers and softens even the hardest hearts. When you carry God's presence, your life becomes a reflection of His love, drawing others toward Him without you needing to force it. Carrying His presence also means that your life becomes a vessel for His miracles. You may begin to witness things that defy natural explanation, prayers answered in impossible situations, healings that doctors cannot account for, and provisions that come at just the right time. These miracles are not about elevating you, they are about glorifying Him. Each one serves as a reminder that His power is alive and active in your life. The presence of God sharpens your spiritual awareness, allowing you to perceive the spiritual realities around you. You may sense when someone is struggling even if they haven't said a word, or feel prompted to pray for a specific situation without fully understanding why. These moments are not coincidental, they are evidence of His Spirit working in and through you. When you respond to these promptings, you become an instrument of His grace, bringing His light into dark places and His hope to those who need it most. With His presence comes a confidence that is not rooted in arrogance but in assurance. You begin to walk boldly, knowing that you are not alone and that He is with you in every step. This confidence allows you to take risks for His kingdom, to step out in faith even when the outcome is uncertain. You realize that obedience is your responsibility, and the results are in His hands. This shift in perspective frees you from the fear of failure because you know that He is working all things together for good. God's presence also purifies your motives. As you spend time with Him, He reveals areas of your heart that need refining. This process can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for growth. He is not content to leave you as you are. He wants to shape you into the person He created you to be. This purification is not about earning His favor, it is about becoming a vessel that can carry His glory without being corrupted by it. Carrying His presence often means that your life becomes a target for opposition. The enemy does not take kindly to those who walk closely with God, and you may face increased resistance as a result. This resistance, however, is not a sign of God's absence, it is often proof of His presence. When you encounter challenges, remember that the same Spirit who raised Christ from the dead dwells within you. You are not fighting alone, and the battle is already won in His name. As His presence becomes more evident in your life, you may notice that people are drawn to you for reasons they cannot explain. They may seek your counsel, feel at peace in your presence, or simply want to spend time with you. This is not about you, it is about the God within you. His light shines through you, attracting those who are searching for something greater than themselves. This is both a privilege and a responsibility, as it gives you the opportunity to point them toward Him. The presence of God also brings joy, deep, abiding joy that is not dependent on external circumstances. This joy is a fruit of His Spirit, and it sustains you even in difficult times. It is not a fleeting emotion, but a steadfast assurance that comes from knowing you are loved, chosen, and held by Him. This joy becomes a strength that carries you through challenges and a testimony that inspires others. When you carry His presence, you begin to see the world through His eyes. Your perspective shifts, and you find yourself moved by the things that move His heart. Injustice, suffering, and lost souls weigh heavily on you, not because you are burdened, but because you are compelled to act. His presence stirs you to be His hands and feet to bring His love and truth to a world in desperate need. You also experience a deeper level of worship. Worship becomes more than songs or rituals, it becomes a lifestyle. Every moment, every action, and every word is an opportunity to honor Him. This lifestyle of worship draws you closer to Him and keeps your heart aligned with His. It is in these moments of intimacy that He reveals Himself to you in new and profound ways. The presence of God brings with it a sense of destiny. You realize that your life is not random but part of a divine plan. Every step you take, every decision you make, and every season you walk through has a purpose. This awareness gives you the courage to persevere, knowing that He is orchestrating everything for His glory and your good. Carrying His presence means that you are never truly alone. Even in the loneliest moments, you can find comfort in His nearness. He is a constant companion, a faithful friend, and a loving Father. His presence is the anchor that holds you steady, the refuge that shelters you, and the fountain that refreshes you. As you walk in His presence, you begin to understand the depth of His love for you. This love is not based on what you do, but on who He is. It is unconditional, unchanging, and unfathomable. The more you experience His love, the more you are transformed by it. This love overflows, touching everyone you encounter and leaving a lasting impact on their lives. The love of God that comes with His presence is a force that reshapes every corner of your being. It is not passive or quiet, it is dynamic, filling every empty space and healing every wound. This love drives out fear, silences doubts, and breaks chains that have held you captive for far too long. It is a love that whispers in your ear that you are enough, not because of what you've done, but because of who He is. When this love flows through you, it touches those around you, and you find yourself becoming a vessel of His grace. Carrying His presence doesn't mean you won't face storms. On the contrary, you may find the winds and waves becoming more intense, but with His presence, you no longer face them in your own strength. His power works through you, calming the seas or giving you the courage to walk on the waters. His Spirit reminds you that the storm is not meant to break you, but to reveal His glory in your life. Every trial becomes an opportunity to lean into Him more deeply, to trust in His promises, and to see His faithfulness unfold. In His presence, you also discover a sense of purpose that is undeniable. You begin to understand that you are part of a greater story, one that He has written before the foundation of the world. This realization fills you with a sense of awe and responsibility. You are not here by accident. Every gift, every talent, and every experience is being woven together for His glory. As this purpose becomes clearer, you find yourself stepping into roles you never imagined, equipped not by your own abilities, but by His Spirit. When you carry His presence, there is a supernatural authority that surrounds you. It is not loud or boastful, but quiet and unshakable. This authority comes from knowing who you are in Him and whose you are. You no longer strive for approval or recognition because you understand that your worth is already established in Him. This authority enables you to speak life into situations, to declare His promises with boldness, and to stand firm in the face of adversity. The presence of God ignites a hunger in you that cannot be satisfied by anything else. It is a hunger to know Him more, to draw closer to Him, and to experience His glory in deeper ways. This hunger drives you to seek Him with all your heart, not out of obligation, but out of desire. As you pursue Him, He reveals more of Himself, filling you with a joy and peace that surpasses understanding. It is a cycle of seeking and finding, of longing and being satisfied, yet always wanting more of Him. This journey of carrying His presence is one of transformation, empowerment, and intimacy. It is not a destination, but a daily walk, a continual unfolding of His love, grace, and power in your life. When you carry God's presence, your life becomes an undeniable reflection of His kingdom. Every step you take resonates with divine purpose, as though heaven and earth collide in your very being. You start to notice how situations that once overwhelmed you now seem to bow under the weight of His presence. It's not because you've grown stronger in yourself, but because His Spirit has become the foundation upon which you stand. The authority you carry is not your own, it is the authority of the one who resides within you, guiding you, empowering you, and working through you. This sacred presence brings clarity to your thoughts and intentions. You begin to see people and circumstances through the lens of His love and wisdom, which elevates your understanding beyond human reasoning. Discerning the motives of others becomes second nature, and you find yourself responding to challenges with a grace that confounds those who observe you. The questions that once plagued you no longer hold the same power, because His Spirit illuminates answers that align with His truth. In His presence, confusion gives way to understanding and doubt dissolves into faith. His presence not only transforms your mind, but also your speech. The words you speak carry a weight they never had before, and your conversations become saturated with life, encouragement, and truth. When you open your mouth, others feel drawn to listen, not because of the eloquence of your speech, but because of the Spirit that flows through your words. The things you declare have a way of coming to pass, because you are no longer speaking out of your own desires, but aligning your declarations with His will. Your prayers shift from being requests rooted in fear to bold proclamations rooted in faith, knowing that His promises are unshakable. Even your physical surroundings seem to respond to the presence of God in your life. You may notice that spaces you inhabit take on an atmosphere of peace and comfort, not because of the decor or the people present, but because His Spirit radiates through you. Those who enter your home or workplace might not be able to articulate what they feel, but they will know that something is different. His presence creates a sanctuary wherever you go, drawing others into an environment where they can encounter Him in ways they never have before. You also find yourself walking in extraordinary favor. Doors that were once firmly shut begin to open, not because of anything you've done, but because of His presence making a way. Opportunities that seemed out of reach come into your grasp, and blessings overflow in unexpected ways. Yet this favor is not just for your benefit, it is a tool for advancing His kingdom. You are entrusted with resources, influence, and opportunities so that His purposes may be fulfilled through you. Carrying His presence means stewarding these blessings wisely, always pointing back to the source rather than taking credit for the outcomes. The more you dwell in His presence, the more you understand the power of humility. God's presence does not coexist with pride, it calls for surrender and reliance on Him. You realize that anything good in your life is not because of your merit, but because of His grace. This humility becomes a strength, allowing you to serve others without expecting recognition and to lead without seeking control. True humility does not diminish you, it amplifies His glory through you, making you a vessel of His love and power. Carrying His presence also brings a deeper level of freedom. Chains that once held you captive, fear, anxiety, shame, and guilt, are broken as you step into the fullness of who He created you to be. This freedom doesn't just affect you, it overflows into the lives of those around you. When people encounter you, they sense the liberty that comes from knowing Him, and it inspires them to seek the same freedom. Your life becomes a testimony of what it means to be released from the bondage of sin and to walk in the liberty of His Spirit. His presence activates your spiritual gifts in ways that may surprise you. Talents and abilities you didn't know you had begin to emerge, not for your own glory, but to edify the body of Christ and expand His kingdom. Whether it's teaching, healing, prophesying, or serving, these gifts become tools in His hands to accomplish His purposes through you. And as you operate in these gifts, you realize they are not about you, they are about Him working through you to bless others. The more you yield to Him, the more these gifts flourish, drawing others closer to Him. The trials you face take on a new meaning when you carry His presence. Instead of being consumed by the weight of your struggles, you begin to see them as refining fires designed to purify and strengthen you. His presence doesn't necessarily remove the pain, but it assures you that the pain is not without purpose. In every challenge, He is shaping you, preparing you, and revealing more of Himself to you. This perspective transforms suffering into an opportunity to grow closer to Him, to trust Him more deeply, and to reflect His character even in the hardest of times. As His presence grows stronger in your life, you start to experience a joy that is untouchable by circumstances. This joy is not fleeting or superficial, it is rooted in the eternal truth of who He is. Even in moments of sorrow, this joy remains, serving as a reminder that your hope is not in this world but in Him. This joy becomes a beacon to others, drawing them toward the source of your strength and peace. It is a joy that cannot be explained, only experienced, and it testifies to the reality of His presence in your life. There is also a boldness that comes with carrying God's presence. You find yourself stepping out in faith in ways you never thought possible, taking risks for His kingdom that you once would have avoided. This boldness is not recklessness, it is a confidence rooted in His promises and His faithfulness. You no longer fear failure because you know that He is in control, and you trust that He will use every step you take for His glory. This courage inspires others to step out in faith as well, creating a ripple effect that advances His kingdom in ways you may never fully see. The presence of God brings healing, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual as well. Wounds from the past that you thought would never heal begin to mend as His love washes over you. The lies you believed about yourself are replaced with His truth, and the burdens you've carried for years are lifted as you lay them at His feet. This healing is not just for your benefit, it equips you to minister to others who are walking through similar struggles. Your scars become a testimony of his power to restore and redeem, offering hope to those who are still in the midst of their pain. Carrying his presence means that your life becomes a living altar, a place where others can encounter him. Your actions, words, and even your silence reflect his character, pointing others toward him without you even trying. This doesn't mean you are perfect, it means you are surrendered. Every moment of your life becomes an act of worship, an offering to the one who deserves all glory. And in this surrender, you find a fulfillment that nothing else can provide, a deep sense of knowing that you are walking in step with the Creator of the universe. In his presence, time seems to lose its hold. Moments of prayer, worship, and reflection feel timeless as you connect with him on a level that transcends the physical world. These moments are where you are most fully alive, where the distractions of the world fade away, and you are left with the pure essence of who he is. These encounters leave a lasting imprint on your spirit, fueling you to continue walking in his ways even when the road is difficult. Carrying God's presence is not a destination, it is a journey. It is a daily commitment to seek him, to listen for his voice, and to align your life with his will. It is a relationship that deepens with every step you take, revealing more of his beauty, power, and love. And as you continue on this journey, you realize that the greatest blessing of all is not what his presence brings, it is his presence itself. To walk with him, to know him, and to carry him within you is the greatest gift you could ever receive. As you carry God's presence, you become a living testimony of his goodness and mercy. The more you walk with him, the more his character begins to shape yours. His kindness becomes evident in your actions, his patience in your responses, and his humility in your service. People around you begin to notice that there is something different about you. They see the way you handle challenges, the way you love without conditions, and the way you remain calm in situations that would typically stir fear or anxiety. This transformation is not something you do on your own, it is a work of the Holy Spirit, who molds you more and more into the image of Christ. The presence of God in your life also leads to a deepening of your relationship with others. As you grow in his love, you begin to reflect that love in your relationships. You become more compassionate, more understanding, and more willing to forgive. The love that you experience from God flows through you, reaching out to others in tangible ways. This is not always easy, but as you continue to yield to his presence, you find yourself equipped with a love that surpasses natural ability. You begin to see people through the eyes of grace, recognizing that each person is valuable in his sight, and this transforms the way you interact with the world. When you carry his presence, you are no longer bound by the limitations of your own strength. You are empowered to live a life that goes beyond what you thought possible. His presence gives you the strength to endure, the courage to stand firm, and the wisdom to navigate the complexities of life. It is not by your own power, but by his Spirit that you are able to walk in victory. In moments of weakness, his power is made perfect, and you find that his presence becomes your refuge, your rock, and your stronghold. The more you embrace the presence of God in your life, the more you come to realize that everything you need is already provided in him. You no longer have to strive for validation or approval because you know that in his presence you are already fully loved, accepted, and valued. This understanding sets you free from the need to perform or compare yourself to others. Your identity is secure in him, and this gives you the peace to rest in his promises. You can trust that he will supply all your needs, that he will lead you into the paths he has prepared for you, and that his plans for you are good. As his presence continues to saturate your life, you also find that your desires begin to shift. What once seemed important pales in comparison to the richness of his presence. The things that once captured your attention, success, wealth, status, no longer hold the same appeal. Instead, your heart longs for more of him. You desire to know him intimately, to walk with him closely, and to serve him faithfully. The pursuit of his presence becomes your highest calling, and everything else falls into its proper place. His presence brings peace to your soul and satisfaction that nothing else in this world can provide. In carrying God's presence, you also become a source of light to others. The light of Christ within you shines brightly in a world that is often filled with darkness. This light attracts others, drawing them to the hope and peace that you have found. It's not about your own abilities or accomplishments, it's about the presence of God in you that makes all the difference. As you continue to carry His presence, you become a beacon of hope in a world that desperately needs it, pointing others to the source of true life. Your life becomes a living testimony of what it looks like to walk with God, and through you, others are drawn closer to Him.